What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of NAS100 analysis today, and we're going to pick up from where we left off last week, right? So I believe the content I'm going to be sharing with you today you are going to find super useful, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, and drop us a like, and also leave us a comment as well, how you found us, right? We always want to hear how you came across this channel, right? So with all of that covered, we're just going to get straight into the analysis. We're just going to get straight into it, right? So first things first, we're going to look at where we left off from last week, right? So I'm just going to bring the separator in, right? And last week, this was what we looked at, okay? And all of this hadn't taken place, right? And these were the levels that I called out. So the weekly low was 16566.3. and the weekly high was 17354.6, right? And what we can see last week, at the straight from when market opened on Sunday evening, right? Market closed above that weekly high, right? So at 11, it just closed, boom, straight across, right? Say around Tuesday is when I actually took a trade, right? Because it's pulled back. I could see that it's pulled back and it was hovering in this zone on the Tuesday, so it was still in this zone. So I just kind of stuck a pending order in a safe place, right? So it's a pending buy order. So I put in like a pending buy order around here somewhere, right? And there were a couple instances where I did actually was a little bit scared because I thought market was going to close me out, and I set my stop loss just under this liquidity spot right here. So I set my stop right here, right? So the idea was this, right? So this is what I was thinking when I actually placed that trade. First things first, because I got the first signal I was looking for, which is price has closed above the weekly high and it pulled back down again. So this area to me looked like it was the discount area, but I wasn't too sure if it was the actual discount area. So what I basically did was I put a trade up here, right? And then I set another trade up down here, and then I put both stop losses down here, right? So when that trade triggered and then came back down, so I don't know what time this is showing on the Tuesday, but it was a little bit. I did get that negative vibe. I did that. So 8 in the morning. Okay, right. So it was this one right here, right? So essentially, what happened was, let's zoom in really close so I can really give you a really good view as to exactly what I did and how I did it, right? So what I did was, I had my pending buy order sitting about here because I wanted it to get triggered, right? I wanted it to get triggered, and I believed that it was going to be pushing up. So when it triggered on this wick right here, and then it flew down, and then it was like that throughout the day. It came down, it came down, then it went up, then it came down again, and I thought, oh my god, what's going to happen here? Then it went back up again, but bottom line was my second trade didn't get triggered at all, so we stayed above it. So we stayed above that, right? So we had a comment last week as well on last week's video, which was no G, you still have to be careful because it can pull back 900 pips. That was from top guy Eddie Lewis. Shout out to you, Eddie, right? Okay, so this was it right here, right? This was what we was talking about over here. And he was right. He was right in terms of we had to be careful with what we were doing in this location, because it was more than easy for market to pull back by a huge amount and come down and shake us all out of our trades. And I kind of factored that in how I took my trade last week, but trust me, I was panicking, right? Because if it come down from where it was down here, I would not have been impressed with that at all. But obviously, luck was on my side. Price went all the way up. I had my trading stop somewhere under here somewhere as market was pushing up. So eventually when it started to pull back down again on the Thursday, it shook me out, and I just left it as that. Because reason why I left it as that was I was under two minds. First off, it's too early in the day, well, it was too early in the week to kind of start really locking in trades, especially if I had a good one that had done what it was supposed to do. And second, it was the weekly highs and the weekly lows were beginning to converge on themselves. So what I mean is, right, so this was last week's weekly high, right? And the new week that we was in, this low had been locked in, right? So because this low had been locked in, I wasn't thinking about taking any new buys from down here because I was still thinking that this weekly high was going to get closed under and then possibly run all the way down. So the only thing I wanted to do was make sure that I had a buy at least to catch it once it kind of went down, and then it would then bounce back up again. That was kind of my thinking with my trades for last week, and obviously it didn't pan out in that way. So let me just add a label to this, and then we're just going to try to explain what I think I'm going to be looking for this week coming and how I'm going to be looking for it. So we got the weekly low, that's it right here, right? And we got the weekly high right here. Right? Now, the situation with this weekly low and this weekly high, it could be an easy trade for us. Like it literally could be an easy trade for us, right? Or it might not be an easy trade for us, right? And I'm just going to do my best to explain what it is I mean by what it is that I'm saying. Reason why I'm saying that is the distance between the weekly low and the weekly high are quite close together, okay? So it's been a while since we've had such close proximity, right, between the weekly low and the weekly high. So we have that here right now, okay? So as it stands, this is where, like, when I'm actually looking for trades, I'm super alert because it is possible for me to catch a really good break, okay? And at the same time, this whole area could be an area of confusion, right? Okay, so as straightforward as it seems, all right, this area could be an area of massive confusion, just based on what could happen and how it could take place. So, for example, the distance between the weekly low and the weekly high are quite close together. So it's highly likely that one or the other could get taken out, which means from when market opens this evening, okay, it is super important that you set your alerts at these levels, right? Especially if you're trying to use the system that I use. If you're not using it, then fine, then watch the content, keep it moving, and then do what it is that you do to make everything work for you. All right, like I say, this is not the gold standard of trading. It's just a system amongst a sea of many, right? So what you could do is you could wait for market to open, set your alerts, an alert over here, an alert over here, and just wait for one or the other to get triggered. As soon as it gets triggered, you have an idea what you need to do and how you need to do it. Point blank and simple, right? So to round this video up, first things first, I need to give the levels that we want to keep an eye on. So on the higher side, weekly high, we're looking at 17688.4. And on the low side, the weekly low, we're looking at 17298.4. If either one of these levels are taken out, we need to start positioning ourselves accordingly. So that's how I would do it. That's how I would recommend it, right? And once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. It is important you do your own homework, and it is important you make sure that everything you're watching, especially if you plan to use it, right, for your own trades, that at least you've back tested it and at least it all makes sense to you and at least you fully understand it, okay? Just don't follow blindly because a guy on YouTube turned around and said XYZ, so sure thing, it must happen. No, right? And anyone on the internet is telling you they're giving you a sure thing are lying. There is no such thing as a sure thing. There's the higher probability, right, a low probability, right, but there isn't 100% this going to work all the time. Market don't work like that, and if you believe market works like that, well, you'll find out, right? So A, I'm not a financial advisor, and B, I'm not giving you financial advice, and C, everything you do is on you. I'm only sharing how I like to do business in the market and systems that are working for me right now currently. All right. Okay, so with that covered, we're going to jump into a higher time frame. As a matter of fact, we're just going to bring in another chart up, right? Just going to get another chart up. We're going to bring in another higher time frame, and then we're just going to have a quick look. We're just going to just assess the situation, and then we're going to see what are the likelihoods that one or the other is going to take place. So this is the day chart that we're looking at right now, all right? Let me get another one up. Actually, no, we don't want that. Okay, perfect. So this is the day chart. Let's get rid of this. So this is the day chart that we have right now, okay? So what we're looking at over here are the standard little pullbacks that the market will do, right? So in my opinion, right, I personally think, right, if you was to ask me, that the good old days are back, just like I had in my last video, right? The good old days are back. So what I'll be looking for, and this is where like the FVGs really come in handy. Okay, so if you're an FVG trader, if you use it, I'm not gonna lie, that concept is quite nice. I do use it myself, right? I do use it, right? But I use it in conjunction with everything else that I use. So I would be expecting price to be coming into these zones right here. That's what I'll be expecting. I'll be expecting price to be coming into these zones right here, right? At the start of, at some point, either on the Monday or on the Tuesday. I'll be expecting to see price somewhere either in here or in here, right? Just in my opinion, it may happen, it may not happen, only time will tell, and we will see all of that taking place next week when the market opens in the next few hours. So with all of that covered, my awesome people, right? Couple things to take away from this video. Price is pulling back down again. Okay, so price is pulling back down. We have these zones we need to keep an eye on if you're looking at it on a daily chart. All right, if we go to the hourly, we can see that the distance between the weekly lows and the weekly highs are very close together. And there is a reason for price to go down to the lower levels, because the FEG is sitting there, right? So there is a reason for it to go there. It doesn't have to go there, but there is a reason for it to get there, right? So if it actually does get there, we then need to start considering how we need to obviously position ourselves. And once again, like I said, the good old days are back, right? And if they are back, like I believe they're back, this is the easiest time to trade, right? So if you actually have any idea of how to trade, right, okay, this is your year. If you have any idea, any idea as to how to actually really navigate the market, if I am right in regards to what it is that I'm seeing and how I'm seeing it, this is your year. This is our year where everything happens, right? If I'm wrong, then hey, I'm wrong, right? It won't be the first time, and it definitely won't be the last, right? So I want to leave those good vibes and that good energy that I have, that the market is going back to normal, okay? And I want to leave that with you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick up again next week, weekend, where we're going to be analyzing the NAS again, and then we're going to see what took place. If it took out the weekly low, or if it took out the weekly high, and if it did, how did you enter the market? If you could drop that in the comment section, guys, that would be awesome. Okay, let's get some engagement going, because I know you guys are watching. Just say something, right? So with all of that covered, my awesome people from all around the world, abundance to you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be very, very soon. So for now, this is Pips and Points signing out.